And the Warriors boat raced the Mavs 120-110. They win the Western Conference title in 5 games, 4-1. The gentleman's sweep complete. They led by as many Golden State as 25 points. They never trailed, treating Dallas like Play-Doh in their hands. Nothing really to break down as far as the game is concerned, even though Dallas at one point in the second half got within 8. You never really thought that was legit, that they were actually going to come back and win the game. And a absolutely terrible start to this game by Luka. I think it was 2 of 10 to start the game, and that set the tone. And so it's on to vacation for the Mavericks. So something that caught my attention, and normally we just go right to the losing locker room, and we will go to the losing locker room, but there was a comment made in the post-game celebration. Now, it was not full Patrick Beverley play-in title celebration, but the Golden State Warriors were enjoying the moment. They were enjoying the moment. And Draymond Green got on the public address system at the Taj Mahal Arena there in San Francisco, and he waxed poetic, and he said, quote, "Nobody thought the Warriors would get back to the finals." And that right there is what we call the money quote. And when I saw that, my ears perked up a little bit when I heard it, and I was like, oh man, he did it. He did it! He did it! Draymond Green did it! All right, so let us discuss the question. Draymond Green saying that nobody believed in Golden State. Is that inbounds or out of bounds? And the answer here is pretty obvious. Not only is it out of bounds, it's not even close. Not even this close. All right, so I've got locomotives, Simpsons, and the double-edged sword. And we will combine all of these random things together. And that will be the foundation of this monologue. So A, we'll start with Draymond Green, who wins the award for the laziest cliche comment of the night in sports. Congratulations, Draymond Green. So not only did the Warriors win the West, but you pick up the lazy hack quote of the night. You gotta be joking. It's another one of these things I'm like, okay, stay calm. Stay calm. Is Draymond living in a different dimension than the rest of us? Because in the dimension I'm in, this is bullshoy. And so this also backs up my long-standing theory about athletes being required to say something like this whenever they accomplish anything. It is in the DNA of every athlete. Every athlete. Nobody thought we could do it. Oh, my God. Anyway, here, just to prove I'm not lying about this, here is the clip we are referring to. Here's Draymond Green, and listen to him in his own words here right after the game on the court. PA system, microphone there with Ernie Johnson waxing poetic.
This one is special because this is a group that no one thought would ever be back here.
Why?
Klay Thompson go through 2 catastrophic injuries. Steph Curry breaks his hand. We went 15 games 2 years ago. A group of young guys and experienced guys. And Bob got at me earlier this year when I said, I don't know if this has ever worked. And he got at me. But this group continued to come every day, put the work in. Our coaching staff has been amazing. And we're here. We back.
Yeah. Wow, this is, you talk about a rags to riches situation. The Golden State Warriors. Man. So I have a new theory. I think he was blindfolded. Like maybe Draymond was blindfolded and he had earplugs in all year because the world I'm in, Golden State, this season was on the trendy train. Choo-choo! Yeah, they were one of the locomotives. They were not the caboose on the trendy train. They were one of the locomotives. Now, the gambling market, which I've always said is a pretty good indicator of where people are regarding these teams. And so you look at the gambling market, they're very, very, very rarely do the bookmakers screw up and a team that was supposed to be good is terrible and vice versa. Every once in a while it happens. But if you look at the gambling market, the Warriors had, and I'm checking my notes here. They have the second best odds of any team in the Western Conference preseason. Preseason to get to the NBA Finals. You know what that means? They were what we call chalk. Chalky McChalk. They were one of the top teams in the NBA going into the season. Now, there's no question that they took a couple of gap years, that Golden State had a couple of throwaway seasons, and really what they've done is taken a page out of the San Antonio Spurs playbook from back in the day. And Steve Kerr, he's a buddy with his fellow woke coach there, Greg Popovich. And so for the sixth time in 8 years, the Warriors are back in the NBA Finals. The last 6 times they've made the playoffs, they made the playoffs the last year, but the last 6 times they've made the playoffs, they have been to the finals, and it's 18 consecutive playoff series wins versus Western Conference opponents. So, but that team, rags to riches. One of the great underdog stories of my life, the Golden State Warriors of this year. It's so good. It's so good. It reminds me of like the Patriots. There'd be a guy at Patriots in the middle of a dynasty would say, "Nobody thought we would get back here to the Super Bowl." Oh, come on, just stop. And just for the record, listen, I like the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are one of the favorites to win the World Series. And if they do end up winning the World Series this year, I don't want to see Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts or Trey Turner get on the mic and say, "Nobody thought we could do this." Stop. Everyone thinks you can do it. Just like Golden State. Most of the room thought you had it in you to get back to the NBA Finals, Draymond. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Now, part B of this. Now, who is the most annoyed that the Warriors are back right near the top of the mountain in the NBA? That one is easy. The Slim Reaper. The Slim Reaper. Kevin Durant. Now, his departure was supposed to undermine the Warriors for the next generation. That was going to be it. Now, to be fair, for a couple of seasons, the Warriors did suck, and they were terrible. They blew. They were underwater. But now Golden State can go back to being obnoxious, and they can go with Kevin Durant, the Warrior players, they can do this. The fans, of course, of the Warriors, they can go full Simpsons, as in Nelson. Ha, ha, right at Durant, right? Now, we're guessing that Kevin Durant is having a chronic kind of a night right now, based on his recent interview with David Letterman. I think he's pretty much doing that every night. And he will not admit that I'm guessing he will not admit that he's bothered by this, that this is an annoyance that his former team, the team that he left to go to Brooklyn, is back. But that's got to sting like a killer bee at some level here. And because that's only going to add fuel, legitimate fuel to the argument that Durant, even though he was winning all kinds of accolades in the playoffs for the Golden State Warriors, that he was a passenger, as it turned out, because the Warriors are still going. And you look at Durant, and these guys won before Durant, and now they've gotten back since he left, and KD's just kind of floating along there, treading water with a flawed team in Brooklyn. Now, that being said, I want to be the voice of reason here, in one sense, because I've seen a lot of noise already. The Warriors are fully back, that they're back to being a juggernaut. Do the Warriors feel like a juggernaut again to you? To me, not by a country mile. They don't. Back in the NBA Finals, that's great. But Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, back in the opportunity to win a championship. I don't want to get carried away here. I picked Golden State to win this series, but they're not head and shoulders above the rest of the NBA. And to get that full juggernaut status, you've got to be a monster. This is not a monster team. I don't look at the Warriors and say they're a monster team. For me, they don't have that status. And we'll find out what happens here in the finals. And the Celtics, I'll tell you what, the Celtics match up very well with Golden State. And that Boston team, assuming they don't poop the bed against the Heat, which is very unlikely here, have to win one out of the next two to go to the NBA Finals. Boston and Golden State, that's a pretty good matchup, head-to-head, mano-a-mano. And we can circle back to that at another point. All right, last word. Now to the losing locker room. To the losing locker room we go. So it's all over now. The curtain has come down. The travel agents have been contacted for a nice vacation. Is this Maverick run the start of something special, or is it more of a fluke? So the arrow for me is pointing to fluke. That's where I am on this. And we don't know what Dallas is going to do to add to their team, but it was fun while it lasted. Because looking back here, the Mavericks beat a fragile, damaged Utah Jazz team, stealing the game plan the Clippers had used the previous year that Ty Lue came up with. The Mavericks, to their credit, they were able to pull it off, and they beat the Jazz using that strategy, taking advantage of the fatal flaw that Utah has with their perimeter defense. And then they play a rapidly aging Suns team with old man Chris Paul, who aged in front of us, and Phoenix took stupid pills before Game 7 at home. But the biggest issue with Dallas is not so much what Dallas does, but you look ahead to the West. Denver's going to reunite. Jamal Murray and those guys will be back together. The Clippers will have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George healthy, teaming up yet again. So it is going to be a much more difficult path for the Mavericks. It was a nice run. They made some shots for a while. Luka was the star and all that. But you look at some of these other guys here, the up and down nature, like a seesaw. There's a lot of Jags, just a guy, a lot of Jags on that team. And you peek ahead, Luka Doncic, still the center of the universe, will be that way for the next 5-6 years. One-man wrecking crew. But it is a double-edged sword. Because somehow, abracadabra, you got to find somebody else who's a bona fide co-star. They don't have that. Now, Jalen Brunson was that guy for a little bit, but he ran out of gas, and he is a pending free agent. And he's going to get paid. Good for him. He should get paid. I wouldn't pay him. But who is the real Jalen Brunson? The cat, he played better than anyone thought he had it in him in these playoffs. So my advice, whoever signs him, handle with care. Handle with care. These playoff wonderkins rarely can sustain that level of play. Very rarely does that happen.